You had a very astute observation
I
in a
did.
recent conversation that we just had about 1 minute ago about that I have all of the injuries of a coal miner, despite having never worked in a coal mine. But this being kind of an indication that my soul has worked in a coal mine.
Yeah.
And I associate myself. I'm an empath, as we all know, and by that I mean mainly that any time that I observe somebody with an ailment, I start to feel it until I am in arguably more pain than them and worse
Yeah.
off than they ever were, even though they're the one actually suffering.
I must say, as your wife, this is something I have observed.
Yes, and so I consume a lot of media surrounding workers in coal mines.
That's true.
Being the show Justified. Fantastic show. Not ironically. We'll talk about Reacher a little bit, and that's an action show that is like, I like kind of ironically. Justified is actually 2 thumbs up certified fresh over here. That's a great show. And a lot of Chinese neo-noir films that kind of take place in the Chinese coal-centered, more rural countryside. And they're mining coal in many of those. My favorite of those films is one called Black Coal, Thin Ice. And so I think perhaps I was fated to be a coal miner, but, the good Lord was having difficulty organizing all of those he was sending down.
Yeah.
And there was a spot open, in my family instead of
Right.
like in an Appalachian family or in a family in the Chinese coal mining, in a Chinese coal mining village.
Yeah. But, like, it still clipped you, and that's why you have all these
It nicked me,
bodily problems.
and that's why I have a knee brace on right now. That's why if I spit my toothpaste out too quickly after having woken up, that I tweak my back and can't move for an entire day. And that is why, as Drake, who no longer in vogue, but, still has a lot of wisdom that he imparted onto us before Kendrick Lamar killed him, said, I'm really too young to be feeling this old.
Well, you know what I'm also thinking is wisdom from, I think, Jack Black in School of Rock, which I'm sure he's not the first person that said this, but those who cannot do, teach. So
Those
you
who cannot, oh yeah, I see.
You cannot mine coal, but you also can't teach it, but you can watch it in movies.
Exactly.
Those who
and I
cannot
do.
mine coal must watch Justified.
And to be fair,
Right, Jelly.
they never mine coal in these
Justified?
in Justified.
They just talk about it.
They just talk about it.
They do, but you get some flashbacks in there.
I think you do go back to the
Do?
coal mines, or you see coal mines. Stuff happens in a
Yeah.
coal mine, and in the Chinese films too. It's like it takes place in a coal mining town,
Right.
but not necessarily like about coal miners down in the mines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to ask and seem like I didn't remember the movie, but I was like, I don't remember them actually mining coal.
It's like, remember at the beginning, there's the big coal train that the leg is
Yeah.
in,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
how the movie
yeah.
starts, or the arm. Yeah.
True.
That movie's so good.
Yeah, it is. I
Shout
really
out
like that
movies.
one. We love movies.
Shout out Southeast Asia. Your movies are the best movies right
Yeah.
now. You're killing us in terms of the movie content that you're putting out. Shout out mainland China as well as Hong Kong, South Korea. Haven't seen any North Korean films. Not sure what they're doing over there. And Japan.
Yeah, and Southwest Asia, step up your game. Because I don't know any Southwest Asian movies.
There are probably. So, I mean, what is India considered Southwest Asia?
No, I think that's Southeast Asia still.
Really? Okay. Yeah, they're killing it. RRR.
I know. That's in my letterbox top 4.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, and Black Coal Thin Ice is in mine. So, if you are feeling despondent about the state of the American movie industry and you think that we're putting out a lot of garbage all the time, don't despair. Great movies are still being made. They're just being made on the other side of the world. Thankfully, we are citizens of the world, not just of the United States, and you can watch those movies, and they are awesome. slap them subtitles on
Yeah.
and get to read.
Look at him.
He is hanging out.
I know. It's like if I would pet him more, but that would just make him leave. So I just have to not touch him.
I wish he understood. We should have given him the briefing on like where the frame ends.
I know.
Because his little noggin's being cut off.
Oh, but that's okay. Maybe he'll hang out for a little bit. This can't be comfortable though.
And Emily, I am actually in the process of ripping audio from our videos.
Okay.
And I want to upload them to platforms, so I'm going to give a quick description of who he is.
Oh.
He is Mr. Jellybean, our black cat. He's 15 years old. He's very cute. He looks like a little teddy bear, or almost 15. He is sitting on Emily's lap with his head cut off by the edge of the frame. So,
but he's not fully on my lap. His back legs are, but his front paws are on the arm of the chair, which is why he's like still kind of loafing, but not quite fully laying down.
Mr. Jellybean loves to occupy a liminal space.
Yeah.
So Emily, what are you reading right now?
I am reading City of Brass. It was a book gifted to me by your sister.
Nice. I'm reading an Eric Ambler novel, who I might have brought up before on this show. I found out that he died in 1998.
Wait,
so,
really?
Yeah, he was alive when we were alive. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy. I kind of thought he was like dead way before that, if I'm being totally honest.
Because he was active in the 30s. Like, he was writing in the 1930s.
Was he actively writing then, or was that just when they were set?
No, he was actively writing. He fought in World War II, and I think he was drafted and fought in World War II. He's British.
Yeah.
And so there's like a long gap when he engaged in the war.
Yeah.
And the book we read was from before he went to war. That was 1939, so that was like right as England and America were actually starting to care about what was happening and get invested. And I mean, they cared, but they weren't at war. The one I'm reading now is post-war, so it's kind of interesting because this is about a guy who's come back from war.
Yeah.
That is really very interesting. And I didn't know he was also a Hollywood screenwriter who screenwrote a lot of things and was actually nominated for an Oscar for one of his screenplays.
Whoa. Okay, so we'll have to watch some of his stuff.
Definitely, and a lot of his books were made into movies as well, but he never, I don't think he ever did a screenplay for one of his own things, but I think that he was actually friendly with Alfred Hitchcock, which is interesting. Yeah.
Do you know how old he was when he died?
He was pretty old. I think he lived like, I think he was 89.
Okay.
So he lived a long life. I think he was 1909 to 1998.
Wow.
So the book that we read by him, he wrote when he was 30. So that's pretty young. Coffin for Demetrios. That's his most popular. And in the UK, it was released as The Mask of Demetrios. And so like if you ever look it up, that's kind of what it's called. Yeah. Nice. Unless you're looking to buy it in the United States.
Okay.
Look up Coffin for Demetrios.
And you know what's really funny is when you picked up that book in Second and Charles, that was when you were doing your alphabet author thing. So that was like a totally random poll.
The first one, because it was Eric Ambler, so it was an A. And totally random poll. I did not know I was pulling like one of the great crime international thriller writers. He was inducted into some sort of detective fiction Hall of Fame style thing, and he was one of the only people not to do like the hard-boiled style thing. He's so worldly.
His guy was like not like incompetent, but was sort of goofy at times,
Definitely. His current protagonist in the book that I'm reading right now is as well, which is called The Shermer Inheritance. But yeah, it's like he's a little bit like he's intelligent, but he's also like he certainly has his quirks. It's like he flew for the Air Force, but he's also like a little bit squeamish, and I feel like that's an irritating quality for an air combat person to have. You know what I mean? Like it's like I fought in the war. I dropped the bombs.
Yeah.
But then, like, when somebody's like, well, we could torture this prisoner to get the information out of him, he's like, ooh. He said his knees get weak.
Oh, but it's like, have you seen what a bomb does to a human?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So,
so the book I'm reading, your sister gave it to me, and I don't think she has read it. I think she told me she hasn't read it. So far, I'm like the description sounds exactly up my alley, but I'm not loving the book so far. But I looked it up and it has really good reviews. And so, like, part of me thinks that it's gonna get really good.
What is your difficulty?
My difficulty, like, with it?
Yeah.
It feels a little more YA than I thought it was going to.
In terms of the content or the writing style?
The style.
The style?
Like,
okay.
kind of how the characters interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little bit more YA than I think I was expecting, or that
Yeah.
I would, like, typically enjoy. Like, I don't have a problem reading YA. Like, I think Song of Achilles is technically YA. I
And you
love
love
that book.
one,
It's
yeah.
a beautiful book, you know? But I think the style that it's written in this one is, like, a little bit less, but I'm starting to get into the meat of the conflict, and it's, like, kind of like world building and political conflict, and so, like, that can be really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick it out and, like, see, like, maybe I come out the other side and be like, oh, that was really good.
Yeah, it could be a good story even if it's not that well written. I feel like
Yeah.
you're so much less persnickety about that sort of thing than I
Totally.
am that you can still probably enjoy
Yeah,
it.
like, I'm already, like, 150 pages in, and I feel like you would not have if you, like, didn't love everything about it.
Right. What is the deal with me and what I'm willing to accept in bad literature and what I'm not? Because, like, I'm watching Reacher right now.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time.
You know, can I be honest?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the difference of, like, when you watch an episode of Reacher, it is, like, at maximum, like, a 55-minute commitment. But
Sure.
if you were reading something of that quality, like, you're kind of a slow reader. So it's, like, a much bigger commitment. And so it's, like, why would I spend my time reading this if, like, I'm not even enjoying it?
Yes, I think it's that. I also do think there's something about like, I think that I can read, like, a pulpy book that's not that well written, that is a genre thing that I just like accept
Yeah.
for what it is. I think it's when something's purportedly a great book or something like
Sure.
that or even a great film. Like, I think if I go see, like, a A24 movie that everybody's told me is amazing and I think that it's bad, I hate it. But if I go see, you know, the new Jason Statham movie that's going to be in the theater for 3 weeks and then go
Sure.
right on to streaming.
Redbox, like, immediately.
Yeah, that, like, I can just take that for what it is. And I always enjoy
Yeah.
it when people aim for, you know, lowbrow and meet lowbrow with all of the expectations of it, than when somebody is insisting that their work is artistically important. And I find
Yeah.
it not, like, trite or
Well, you
derivative.
love stuff that, like, really does genre stuff,
Yeah, I do.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, maybe that's it. Like you said, like, you'll read, like, the pulpy stuff and enjoy that. Like, if you were watching Reacher and everyone was telling you, like, oh my god, Reacher is seriously mind-blowing, it's such an amazing show,
I would,
you would be
I
like,
would hate it.
Yeah.
You're right. You're totally right.
But
It's-
because it's, like, no one is saying that, you know?
Right, yeah. They're all like, Reacher's crazy. He's huge and he knows how fast a bullet goes.
Yeah. Like, there's no, like, pretense.
No,
you know?
not at all. Yeah. Well, on that note, so we're introducing we've reformatted a little bit here. We're gonna have some segments.
Yeah.
And so our first is going to be a new segment that we're introducing, very similar to our book cover reviews
Judgment
episode,
Day.
our Judgment Day episode, which is a book intro episode. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pulled up here. And our first one is going to be Reacher Persuader by Lee Child. Now, Lee Child wrote all of the Reacher books.
Okay.
As we saw at Target when we were here.
Yeah.
He wrote the last one, I believe, with his son, Andrew Child.
Right.
I will say that I have never read any of the Reacher stuff. I have only seen the Amazon Prime TV show.
Right.
But that Reacher is very popular among sort of the dad class of
Okay.
readers, of fiction
Okay.
readers.
Is this, like, either your dad likes Reacher or he likes nonfiction World War II?
I can see the same guy maybe liking both.
Okay.
I think.
If your dad likes James Patterson, will he like Reacher?
I think that this is more James Patterson
Okay.
core. and Lee Child's he's been at it for a minute now.
Okay.
You know, there were Tom Cruise Reacher movies before there were.
Really?
Yeah. And people
He's
were really
so
upset
not
because he was so
Jumbo.
short. People were upset.
Reacher's canonically Jumbo.
Reacher is supposed to be large.
Okay.
He's supposed to be very large. So when Alan Ritchson was cast in
Yeah.
this, I know so much more about this. I just get like this about anything that I watch, though. People were very excited about how tall he was.
That's
And
hilarious.
here's a little fact. Alan Ritchson was always 6'2". This
Okay.
was a known fact. When he got cast as Reacher, all of a sudden, his reported height 6'4".
No way.
Yeah. So who
Oh
knows?
my
Like, we
gosh.
just met Glenn Howerton
Yeah.
from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He plays
told
Dennis.
us he's a big fan of our podcast.
Exactly, yeah. No, but we did just meet him. He happened to come to town. When we watch that show, we always think of him as he looks 6'2" on that show, 6'1",
Sure,
6'2".
yeah.
Like, he looks so much taller than everybody.
Yeah.
You forget he's acting alongside the shortest popular actor like ever,
True.
Danny DeVito. And then the second shortest, Charlie Day.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, it's not like Rob McElhenney's towering.
No.
So I
like
think
we
he's-
met him as like, oh, he's like such a normal height.
He was like my height.
yeah.
I was like, what the
Like
heck?
not like he was like
Yeah.
crazy short. It was just like you're just a
He's
normal
just a
sized
regular
person.
sized guy, and I always
Yeah.
thought of him as being very, very tall and
Yeah.
like a tall, lean guy. So who knows how tall Reacher is? Who knows? So we're gonna go ahead. What we're gonna do? We had talked on our Q&A episode about how you can tell if something's publishable by the first line or first
Yeah.
paragraph. And I think I can tell if I'm going to like a book, not by the synopsis usually ever, but I've said this to you for a long time that I can tell it by when I like open it. If I read the first paragraph, I can kind of tell if I'm going to like it
Yeah.
just by the way it's written or not.
You know, that's totally fair. And I wish I had this book here, but I don't because I always lend it out to people. But when I read the first sentence of Korag, which is my favorite book,
Right.
I like literally stopped. We were in Bowlbean and I read it out loud to you. And I was like, I'm going to love this book. And then I did.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you can just tell. Maybe you can't definitely tell, but you can
Yeah.
definitely tell if it's going to hit or if it
Yes.
is going to just. It's not at all. But I've never consumed any Reacher
Right. So
literarily. So let's check it out here. So here are the opening lines to this, and this is the Reacher book that this current season is based
okay,
off
so
of.
this isn't like the first one. This is what
Right. So season 3 of Reacher on Amazon
Persuader.
Prime. The
Interesting.
Persuader. I can't. Yeah, because watching the season, I don't.
Why is it called that?
I don't know. It's a cool name for a book.
I guess
Persuader.
so. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The cop. The cop climbed out of his car exactly 4 minutes before he got shot. He moved like he knew his fate in advance. He pushed the door against the resistance of the stiff hinge and swiveled slowly on the worn vinyl seat and planted both feet flat on the road. Then he grasped the door frame with both hands and heaved himself up and out. He stood in the cold, clear air for a second, and then turned and pushed the door shut again behind him. Held still for a second longer. Then he stepped forward and leaned against the side of the hood up near the headlight. The car was a 7-year-old Chevy Caprice. It was black and had no police markings, but it had 3 radio antennas and plain chrome hubs. Most cops you talk to swear the Caprice is the best police vehicle ever built. This guy looked like he agreed with them. He looked like a veteran plainclothes detective with the whole of the motor pool at his disposal, like he drove the ancient Chevy because he wanted to. Emily,
Yeah.
would it surprise you very much to know that this legitimately shocked me? I flipped further into this book.
Yeah.
I did not know that these books were written in the first person,
Oh.
so that you're in Reacher's head.
Oh.
So Reacher's describing
So
things.
is he watching this?
I assume that he is watching this based off of what
That
I
is
flipped to
very
later.
interesting.
I think that this is very Reacher in the way that he has his ideas about every single thing
He
and
does.
a perfect conclusion about every detail of everything. Yeah,
I know why it's called The Persuader.
please.
Because constantly people are like about to discover something and then he persuades them of something crazy. He goes, they're like, the guys that kidnapped him are gonna come after us, which like it's like
That's
yeah they are,
so
and then
true. Oh
Jack
my
Reacher's like
gosh.
no they wouldn't. Why would they do that? because if they did that, then they're gonna lose their guy in the secret hole. I don't know.
No,
But
that's exactly how he talks the whole time. They'd
he
be
doesn't
like,
blink while he gives them his persuasion.
He gives them an answer that is so specific. That's a really good way of putting it, because what you said doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't matter, because what he says, you get his point, but the confidence with which he says it and the ease with which it's accepted by everybody around him as being an obvious conclusion, because like he has this quality to him, like he's experienced every possible scenario 100 times, and the answer now is obvious to him, be it like the best way to sharpen a pencil, or like the best way to like infiltrate a place armed with like 100 guys,
totally.
And it's awesome. I love it. It's actually, that is something that I usually find very irritating, but the way that it's delivered by the largest man ever with an expression on his face that looks like it's frozen there because of the human growth hormone is it appeals to me in some way. I don't know.
He looks so scared.
He does.
He looks, and I just like, people say this about people, but he looks like he pooped his pants.
I don't think so.
I kind of think so.
I don't think so.
The way he like doesn't want to move, he's like, no, that's not what happened.
You know what? I get what you're saying there, but his expression looks like if he pooped his pants, he knows that you know, and he doesn't care.
That is
so in that way,
Reacher.
he doesn't look like he pooped his pants. Okay, should we move on? This next one is yours, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We did all this in the aisle at Target.
Yes,
so.
These are all Target aisle picks. We found a book, opened it up, whatever the first line was, we snagged it.
Okay. So this is Distance, and it's part of the Beneath the Mask series.
I would like to describe for any audio listeners this cover here, which is not easy.
The cover is what drew me to this one.
The cover is crazy. It's a black cover. The word Distance is in gold block letters. There is a lot of like white floral outlines and butterflies, but the main thing is there's a hanging shiny box of red gloves, like ruby colored red boxing gloves.
Yes. So
Did I just say shiny box of red gloves?
You did, but
okay, that's wrong. They're red boxing gloves.
For the audio listeners, we're tricking you. So I
it's such a strange cover.
It is very strange. So that's what drew me to this.
You want to go for it? Okay. All of these books appear to be 20% off, by the way.
Yes. So one thing interesting about this is the front page, like the first page was like printed on black.
It's black with white lettering, which I'm sure that they were thrilled to do at the printers.
Yes. Now, I'm going to give a disclaimer, which is I thought we were truly just doing like the first sentence. And so I hadn't read more of this.
And I'll go ahead and say I wanted to make that later point about Reacher's thinking, so I read a little bit more than I probably will of the future ones. Yeah, we'll do like the first little tidbit, but not the whole thing necessarily.
That's it. 10 days is long enough for this pity party. My tiny bedroom is shrouded in darkness, thanks to the wonderful invention of blackout blinds. I'm cocooned in my duvet, surrounded by snotty tissues, the Salvatore brothers being the closest I've come to human interaction. My life is just one disaster after another.
Can we stop there for a minute and discuss? I'm actually curious because, I'm so picky about just like prose styling, so I want to pitch it to you. As just the general consumer who would open up this book and read that first paragraph, does this interest you to read further?
No.
Okay.
Personally, no. It's not out of the realm of, like, books I have read, but, like, if I was looking for a read that I was really gonna like, probably not.
I feel like this is, like, part of those... We talked about this during some of the other ones, that it's, like... People want a hashtag relatable book sometimes, and that I just don't think either of us are necessarily people like that.
Yeah.
And so this is not gonna fly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But please go on.
It's melodramatic in a way that's not like self-aware.
I already wouldn't want to have a conversation with this narrator, but not in a fun way. Like sometimes I'll read like the opening page that a narrator says something crazy,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, I probably wouldn't want to meet this person either.
Yeah.
But but I'd
they
love
got
to
something
get inside
wacky
their
going
head.
on,
Exactly. Yeah.
totally.
So
So it goes on. 10 days ago, I walked in on my fiance, now ex-fiance, balls deep in some leggy blonde as he bent her over the kitchen counter. He was too busy entertaining his guest to notice me hurl my engagement ring at his head and storm out. I shudder at the memory.
wow. So that has a lot more heat on it. That paragraph, I would say.
Yeah.
Why would they not just switch those? Start with the
Yeah.
10 days ago. I walked in on my fiance, now ex-fiance. That's like that is so.
It's got a hook.
It's got a hook. It's
I
like
still
either
wouldn't
you're
like
into
it.
this. No, I wouldn't like it either. But like now you know what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and like the impact of even that, it's still like whoa. But it's like
Yeah.
been like preambled with kind of this like
Yeah. But you know what I will say is I learned later that this is part of a series. And so maybe you're supposed to already know. And that's
I suppose. I mean, even so though, just pick up there then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like hit them with it, and then put us where you are. You know.
I agree. Did you so I did look it up mostly because I wanted to make sure that the page that I had was from this book because I took a couple pictures.
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
And this is classified as a dark mafia romance.
Cool. A
yeah.
dark mafia romance.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like an AI classification, it
Yeah.
feels like. All right, we're going to move on here. This is one of mine. Remarkably Bright Creatures. Are you familiar with this?
Yes. I've never read it, but like this was a very popular book. Like I feel like last
Okay,
year.
gotcha.
Yeah.
This is
like
what's so nice is I have no idea about it.
yes,
any
I
of
know.
that,
Well,
yeah.
it's because you don't know about like Reese's book club and stuff, but I feel like this was on Reese Witherspoon's list or something like that. Like there's all these like yeah.
This looks the kind of type font and colors and that 2D style is very trendy, but there is an octopus on it, which I like. And Shelby Van Pelt, Remarkably Bright Creatures. So this is how it
This
opens.
was 30% off.
30% off, yeah. Darkness suits me. Each evening, I await... Okay, I'm going to start with the first line here.
Yeah.
First lines are very, very important. And I'm actually going to click back up to Reacher's first line
Yeah.
here, too. The cop climbed out of his car exactly 4 minutes before he got shot. That's actually a good opening to a book.
Yeah.
Like, that is just strong,
Yeah.
they call it in media res is the English term for it. You're probably familiar with it. It's just starting in the middle of the
Yes.
story. Like, not doing this I'm sad preamble here, or it was a dark and stormy night or something like that. It's just like that action is currently happening. Darkness suits me is a little bit like I'm supposed to be impressed in a way or engaged by this thing, but it's a little bit, in my way, it feels a little bit melodramatic. It feels a little bit Tumblr.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it could be anything from a literal vampire novel to like, I don't know, an octopus.
To an octopus, exactly, yeah. Each evening, I await the click of the overhead lights, leaving only the glow from the main tank. Not perfect, but close enough. Almost darkness, like the middle bottom of the sea. I lived there before I was ever captured and imprisoned. I cannot remember, yet I can still taste the untamed currents of the cold, open water. Darkness runs through my blood. So I don't mind this opening at all. We're getting something from the perspective of an octopus. I mean, that's like what you have to know. And he's a articulate octopus.
Yeah.
And I really like that idea a lot. I think if you get rid of Darkness Suits Me, it works a lot better.
Yeah.
If you open it with each evening, I await the click of the overhead lights, leaving the almost glow from the main tank. Not perfect, but close enough.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I just feel like now we're with the octopus.
Yeah. Or even like moving like darkness suits me to after like darkness runs through my blood. Darkness suits me.
Yeah,
Like I just feel like it's stronger somewhere else.
sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I want to be. It seems funny to be like, well, you get to that line in the second line, but like really, like the way you open your book is like, it means a lot, and it's great to get right to it. Don't open with something obscure, is what I would say.
That's a good
Unless
way to...
that obscurity is so singular that it really says you're going to want to learn about this, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I'm not curious to learn about everything that darkness suits.
Totally.
Right? So I guess that's my thing on that. But I generally, I think this is a good book opening.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that
micro
darkness...
critiques to be made about everything.
Yes, I agree. Darkness Suits Me could have been the opening sentence to any of these books so far.
You're completely right. Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
But in general, yes, I do like this intro, like as
Yeah.
far as like the rest of the paragraph and stuff. The Reacher one was fine too. It's just different genre, you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah.
And jumping down to even on this one, it says, "Who am I? You ask. My name is Marcellus, but most humans do not call me that." I always like it when a book opens with the person just saying who they are.
Yeah. Do you actually?
I do. Call me Ishmael. My story that I'm working on now, just this is my name.
Yeah.
Like then you have a person, you have an individual immediately, and you're going to learn about this person. And I think it's like it's so easy and it's so effective, and
Yeah.
it doesn't do any of this kind of like lingering or meandering before you get there, or this teasing out of what you might be getting into. It's like, here I am, and here is what I have to say. I think the more straightforward things are a lot of the time, the more I enjoy them.
These have all been from first person perspective also.
That's true. Although you wouldn't know it with the Reacher one until later, probably.
That would probably be jarring with
To
Reacher. Just because like from like that first page you don't know that. And then it's like
definitely.
I walk in my big jeans.
Yeah. I feel like it probably transitions by being like something like, at least that's what the cop on duty said when he recounted the facts to me, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
People will do that sort of thing a lot. Okay, here's your next one.
Yes, okay, so this is Legends and Lattes. Now this is a cover I hadn't seen before. Normally the cover is like it's like an orc lady and like a tiefling girl in like a cafe. And I've actually read this book. So
30% off.
30% off, but I had it on Libby, so
Nice. So 100% off.
yes, support your local libraries.
Legends and Lattes is sort of a positive version of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies style literature, or Abraham
Yeah.
Lincoln Vampire Hunter
Yeah, I guess so.
style.
I've never read Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Yeah.
But is it literally just like the same story but with zombies?
Kind of. Like, it's kind of just like inserting an absurd thing into an already present genre.
This is basically like a book written in like D&D world, and like what if the barbarian in your party decided to retire and open the first coffee shop?
For our non-nerd listeners, D&D is Dungeons and
Oh.
Dragons, and your party would be the group of people that you're playing with
Yeah.
around a table.
This book, when I opened it in Target, it had like a slogan that was like high fantasy and low stakes. And that's pretty much exactly what it is. It's not a life-changing book. I read it in like 2 days, but it was like just like fun and cozy. So it fills that niche really well.
All right, let's see how it opens.
Okay. Viv buried her greatsword in the Scalvert skull with a meaty crunch.
That's a good opening line for sure. Mm-hmm. That's right into it. It's got a lot of great visceral words in it too. Mm-hmm. Buried the great sword with a meaty crunch. I mean, that is just you feel it.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Black blood thrummed in her hands, and her muscular arms strained as she tore it back and out in a spray of gore. The Scalvert Queen gave a long, vibrating moan and then thundered to the stone in a heap.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some action going on right off the bat.
Yeah.
I will say sometimes it's like, I feel like there's like a delicacy with that where it's like you are giving more world information really quickly, and then it feels like, this is very personal to me, but like now I have to learn more. Like I'm like learning that like now I have to like learn some stuff. I'm being told right now that I'm gonna have to like
You
wait
have to
and
learn what a Scalvert is.
Exactly. I have to
Right.
learn who the Scalvert Queen was. Which, if you're really into this and excited to get
Yeah.
into a new world, that's probably really fun for you. But if you are looking to have something delivered to you, or just like if you're looking for the author to be straight with you,
Sure.
which I always look for, you know, I don't want to be teased.
Yeah.
I want to feel like everything is matter of fact and straightforward, and anything that's being withheld from me is like being withheld so artfully that I know that it's just going to come in time and whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like a fair assumption from this, but I will also say that it's not accurate to this book. Like, by the second page, it doesn't matter. This is like her last mission that she did to get the money to retire, and then she has a whole different story, and there's like almost no violence.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, that's nice. That would be a nice relief for me. I love it when confusion resolves itself quickly within something.
It's like, she had to kill this to get a special stone, and then she can go open her coffee shop.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna I have a physical book here with me that I'd like to use as an example of a good opening that I really like. This is Paul Auster's Oracle Knight. Paul Auster is a house favorite author, and by house favorite I mean me. And Overgrowth favorite author. He passed away a couple years ago. Actually, I think just last year.
Yeah, I think so.
And this is one of my favorite books of his. So the opening line is, "I had been sick for a long time." That's it, which I really like that.
I think it's strong.
I think it's strong too. It like says it's so short. I really like that about it too. It's not trying to deliver you a lot of information, but it is extremely direct, and it says something has happened. I'll read a little bit further, but it's not trying to obscure anything. It's just like enough to tease, because you know he's going to go on about it right afterward, right? When the day came for me to leave the hospital, I barely knew how to walk anymore, could barely remember who I was supposed to be. Make an effort, the doctor said, and in 3 or 4 months you'll be back in the swing of things. I didn't believe him, but I followed his advice anyway. They had given me up for dead, and now that I had confounded their predictions and mysteriously failed to die, what choice did I have but to live as though a future life were waiting for me?
That's the best one of the day.
It's so good. I love it, and I love it because this is a spoiler for this book, but you never learned what he was sick with ever in the entire rest of the book, and it doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't matter?
No, he just shuffles around the streets like sickly trying to do stuff.
Wow.
And if you're into Paul Auster like I am, that's a lot of his protagonists are just kind of shuffling haggardly around, describing like things that are going on around them with like complete confidence all the time.
That's a good opening.
It is a very good opening. So yeah.
Nice.
Emily, let us move on to the internet.
Okay.
Now, when we began this here program, I believe, on our first episode, right? We
had a lot of posts in the first couple, I think.
And I think we've been missing posts.
I've been missing posts.
Yeah, the internet is such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
With so many people and with so many different ideas. You found all of these posts, so I haven't read them.
We're doing mine.
We are doing your posts.
Nice.
So here is our first post.
Do you want to, or do you want me to?
No, please. I would love for you to.
So this was posted in r/legal advice. My friend is trying to steal my magpie story idea.
Wow. So for people with friends, this has probably happened to you already.
Yeah.
So this person must be pretty young. That this is they're confused that this is happening to them. This is in legal advice.
Yes, nice. With the tag intellectual property.
Right.
Hi, UK here. So they're posting from the UK. Today I came... Okay, sorry, that just hit me that this happened today. And they're already posting on the legal advice subreddit.
How hard are they trying?
Yeah. Today I came up with a new idea for a story about a group of anthropomorphic magpies that team up to overthrow a fascist government. I was really excited about the idea, so I told my friend, who was initially quite supportive. He even wrote me a poem that he said I could use for the story, to which I was very thankful. However, he suddenly got angry at me when I said I wanted to make it an animated film, saying that it had to be a book. I said, no, this is my idea and my passion, and now he's saying that it's his because he was the one to write the poem, making it the first content of the intellectual property, so it belongs to him. He said that he can legally pursue action if I try to make my story. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I am very upset and would like or I'm very upset and would be very sad to lose this idea, as it is my favorite idea I have come up with in a while. Thanks.
So I actually have some really good insight into a
Okay.
very similar situation to this one. Now, are you familiar? You're familiar with Swamp Thing, the character
Yeah.
Swamp Thing, very popular comic book character, been in some like movies and TV shows and stuff like that too. He is a DC property,
Okay.
DC Comics property. There is a property that is almost exactly the same creature called Man Thing, but is a thing from the swamp and looks pretty much exactly like Swamp Thing in Marvel. Now, would you know that these two guys happen to be roommates in college and both say that they came up with the idea?
Oh.
And both of them exist. And so I think that if you write it, it'll be fine. But I think that the bigger thing here is that you might be getting way ahead of yourself.
Yeah, the fact that the timeline is in one day is so funny
Yeah,
to me.
exactly. It's like you're getting a little ahead of
Yeah,
yourself.
I
here.
had my new favorite idea today, and my friend wrote a poem, and our friendship is basically over today.
Today because I decided that it's moving from book to animated
Yeah.
feature film, and he knows it's going to be a book. Yeah, but I would say, go ahead and write the animated screenplay.
Uh-huh.
See if he can go ahead and write the book, and just erase him.
Yeah.
You know, it's your idea.
Totally.
He doesn't have the spirit of the anamorphic magpie in him. Mm-hmm. This is a stolen idea. He doesn't have your inspiration for it. And so, get it out there.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I had that idea, or I could have done that, but you didn't.
You didn't.
Like,
Exactly.
and if you just do it, it's very unlikely that he's going to do anything about it.
I think that every time. I've said that to you after we see a lot of musicals.
That you could have done it, or
Yeah.
that you could write a really,
Yeah, that I could just
You
write
said
a
that
musical.
after we look at modern art. You say that after hearing pretty much any country song.
Yeah, and then I wrote a really
You
great...
wrote a really
and then you
great-
said... You know, you didn't say then do it, but that's always the implication I
That's what I
feel.
say when you say that about modern art.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay.
Well, I always say, like, I don't want to make that. Why would I want to make that? Why would they want to make that?
Anyways, would you want to steal this idea?
Would I want to steal the idea of anthropomorphic magpies that team up to overthrow a fascist government? No, but I will say, you know, we saw the Studio Ghibli film.
Oh, yeah.
And they have fascist anthropomorphic birds in that.
gosh.
But this is 3 years ago. So they should
So,
sue Boy and the Heron.
they should,
For
'cause-
taking their idea and doing a reverse.
I agree. Also, is a magpie like the British word for a pigeon, or is that its own bird?
I think it's a blackbird. It's like closer to a
Oh,
crow, I believe.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, but basically this is a great idea. I'd like to go ahead and say there can't be too many stories about this.
Yeah.
There can be a book and a movie.
Absolutely.
There can be 2 books and 2 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you make a book and then turn that into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you guys should just team up.
That's a really good idea. But it sounds like they're really at odds because one of them really thinks it should be just a movie and one really thinks it
Yeah.
should be just a book.
It's really funny to like have your friend come to you with an idea and you write a poem and then be like, I'm going to sue you if you do anything.
Yeah, your friend sounds bad.
Yeah.
Your friend sounds very, very bad.
Do you know the rules about intellectual property?
I mean, yeah, like, yes, yeah.
Do you have to do something to claim it? Like, do you just have to be able to, like, prove that you, like, had this idea? Or do you have to, like, basically do, like, a patent pending? Like,
I think, no, you don't have to, like, put a patent on it, but I think, like, if you could prove, like, that somebody had made a lot of money off of an idea that was yours that you were intending to, like, publish to make money for yourself,
Okay.
that you could have a claim against them. So, like, this guy will be, you know, according to this person's account of the details, lying. But if he said, no, look, Judge, here's where I sent him my poem. Mm-hmm. He was the first person to write something. He sent it to the other guy, and then he could falsely allege he got the entire idea from this poem that I wrote and was planning on expanding. Like, you know, somebody did that with Scrat. from Ice Age. Like, there's a woman who claims that she invented Scrat, and that Scrat was stolen from her, and she sent like Scrat into DreamWorks like years before
no.
that it was ever. And she's made this like her whole life's thing is
Like the plot of Big Fat Liar happened to her, but
basically with Scrat.
That's so upsetting.
But I think that her case is pretty weak.
Yeah.
I believe. But yeah, she and
Dang.
I think DreamWorks is doing all right. So
The evidence, it's like just like drawings of a squirrel with like no return address that got sent to DreamWorks. Like,
yeah, no,
and he loves an acorn.
I can't remember if she like worked there or just like submitted like a script or something at some point and was just never compensated for the squirrel rat combo or the squirrel that was always trying to get his acorn back.
Is that why he's called Scrat?
He's a squirrel rat.
Whoa. Mm-hmm. Never knew.
Yeah. And I guess a squirrel and rat evolved, different as...
Was that a real creature?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
So
but who knows
the squirrel part of him really takes over when he sees an acorn.
Yeah, the rat part of him I think is just about his like personality or whatever. His scrappiness maybe is the rat part. Let's move on here. This is your next one. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jelly, I have to lean forward a little bit. So this is also in legal advice. Mm-hmm. Girl, like age not available, so we don't know how old the girl is.
Okay.
Finds poem that I, 18, accidentally left under my desk. She proceeds to speak to school resource officer. So the cop that goes to their school.
I already feel like this guy gave her the poem. If it's a guy.
It's got to be a guy. Today, I was called down my high school resource officer's office.
It's not a great.
It's not a great
post.
first sentence.
It's not. No. Right? You're still in it.
Yeah. It was accused of stalking a girl attending the school. This girl, who I have never interacted with before, apparently found a copy of a work in progress poem I was writing. Under my.
Under or on my desk of
you.
my English class.
Where I guess she also sits at a later time. As I infer, she proceeded to read this poem and believe it was intended for her, which it was not, nor has any apparent recipient. So I really like how much couching is going on already. So apparently this girl maybe sits at this desk,
Yeah.
who I have never interacted with.
I gotta say, I never, and I know I had a weird school experience, but I never knew who sat in my desk after me in any class that I ever had.
Yeah.
So if I was looking to leave something for them, I wouldn't know.
Yes. Yeah. She, as I also infer, proceeded to speak to the school resource officer and stated that she was uncomfortable and disturbed by this. When the officer spoke me, it appeared as if he believed me to be a stalker and told me to leave her alone, which I told him that I had never met this person to my knowledge, nor was the poem meant for her, as I just accidentally left it at my desk as I was in a rush that day. It also sounded like she stated to him that I was following her in the halls, which is also not true, but that may be a miscommunication from him to me.
I almost believe this guy.
I believe him. It's just so funny the way he's explaining this, like the level of legalese that he's trying to put in it.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Like, to my knowledge.
It is really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I don't believe a cop. That's what I don't believe. I heard you were stalking her.
Yeah.
Drumming up charges. He's got him like with a swinging interrogation lamp.
Yeah, he is 18.
Exactly. He's trying to try him as an adult for stalking.
Is there anything I should do about this, such a statement or something? Also, sorry about any grammatical errors. I have an issue with writing in grammar. Sorry for roasting you then.
Yeah. Well, no, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
What could possibly be in this poem?
I want to see the poem.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, no matter what, whether or not he really did want it for this girl, he wrote a poem that disturbed a girl so much that she took it to the school's cop.
That's very true. And I will say that does make a very big difference.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's been stalking me in the hallways or whatever. I don't know. Who can say?
I have a feeling...
We need so much more information to make a
Yeah.
determination in this case.
Totally. But, like, to take it to the cop at your school and not, like, the teacher of your class.
Wait a minute.
What?
This girl's a Karen. She went straight to the cop.
She went straight to the cop.
She went straight to the cop.
Wow. She didn't try to community solve this at all.
Nope. She didn't go to her parents. She didn't tell the teacher. She went to the school resource officer. She's a Karen, and that's why her age is not available, because she's in high school and she's 45 years old.
I think the only alternative is that this poem is extremely graphic in a violent and disturbing way that made her feel in danger.
Or just, like, sexual or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, like, freaked her out.
Yeah.
Yep, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
All right, Emily.
Okay.
This one, don't worry if you're watching this on a video. It looks extremely long, but Emily wrote a synopsis of her own.
I did.
To
I
describe it to
narrowed
us.
this down into something much more digestible because I think the content of this is amazing, but it is just a really long post. So the title of this post, this is in Am I the Asshole subreddit. Am I the asshole for using my girlfriend's high school poetry to write an amazing song?
Not if it was amazing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
My girlfriend told me about this sub, and I hope she sees this and understands that she's being really dramatic right now.
Sorry, can we just say that this is flagged in red as this person? It was the asshole?
Yes.
Okay.
My girlfriend is an incredible poet. Well, I'm a musician, so it works out perfect. She helped me write a couple songs last summer, and my followers loved them. By the way, I didn't change. I simply removed sentences or shortened things for clarity, but anything like that...
Yeah, this is their words.
This is their words.
These are all their
Yeah.
words.
As I was helping her unpack her stuff at my place, I noticed a really old shoebox. I started to open it. My girlfriend freaked out. She got defensive and told me it was, quote, bad poetry I wrote in middle school, that I don't want anyone to see it. I waited until she went to work to go through all of the notebooks.
Okay, well, that's rude.
Some of it was really cringe, yeah.
That's so mean.
No, but some of it was seriously good. So I started working on a new song based on her old poetry. The song turned out awesome, so I posted it to all my social media accounts and my fans adored it. I showed her the good reception it was getting and she flipped the fuck out. She threatened to take me to court for plagiarism and she's telling me she, quote, can't look at me right now. Do you have something to say?
I just think the report. I guess she's emotional. To take you to court for plagiarism is a little silly.
Yeah.
Off of like a poem in a shoebox in the
I
closet
think
that your
she
boyfriend
just
made
feels
into a
very
song.
betrayed.
Yeah, she has been.
She has been
She has been completely betrayed.
Well, all I did was show her how talented she's always been, and now she's messaging all of her friends looking for a couch to crash on. I've apologized, but she says I'm full.
Oh, they're like old enough that they're living. They're living
Yes,
together.
He was helping her unpack her stuff, moving into.
I'm sorry, I missed that. I
Yeah.
thought that he was just like helping her out, like moving somewhere.
No.
Okay. Well,
Does that change things for you?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, like these are adults.
These are adults. This is teenage problems. Yeah.
I've apologized, but she says I'm full of it. Hopefully some honest internet feedback will help her understand this isn't worth losing a good thing over. Am I the asshole here, guys?
Even the way he phrases it,
Yes.
it's like, yeah. You don't seem like you care at all. You don't acknowledge, like, because even in a lot of these posts, it's like, yes, I get that it was probably not cool of me to do this, but I do feel like she's overreacting. You know what I mean? And then people will be like, yeah, she might be overreacting. You probably just need to apologize and like say you didn't understand how much.
No self-awareness at all.
Yeah.
And there are two edits that are really good. The first is, I think you guys are being way too harsh and should hear the song before judging.
It's not about the song, dude.
I'll upload it again and link it when I get a chance right now, because right now my PC is busted and any mobile data is too shitty to do it with. So that was the first edit. I think there was a second edit where he was basically like,
he's like, you gotta
fine,
get the
guys,
tones,
I'm not
man.
gonna upload the song because you guys are all freaking out. And then there's the third edit. Well, apparently my girlfriend saw this and left a comment of her own. Her friends are gonna be here in an hour. I keep telling her I'm sorry, but she's basically pretending I'm a ghost now. It kinda sucks.
Wow. That last one is the only one that makes me think maybe this is like a made up post.
Why?
I don't know, just because like
He
he's
started
trying to stay
this-
current with it.
Well, he started this because, like, the opening of this was my girlfriend told me about this sub. So she goes on this sub.
Oh, okay.
And it
All right.
did kind of blow up because he's.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound like the kind of inflammatory made up thing that people make up
Yeah.
either. Like
Totally.
to really get. Yeah, that's yeah. You are, buddy.
How would you feel if I had done this to you?
I just feel like that was such an invasion of privacy, and we've
Yeah.
been married for a long time, and we've been together for a really long time.
Yeah.
And but I feel like we can always respect each other, like to not like. It's like these are my private thoughts.
Yeah.
Like go through each other's stuff.
Totally.
And that even if you were to have like read all of them, I'd be like, I would be kind of hurt. Like that was a violation of something I had specifically asked you
Yeah.
not to do. But then if you made a song out of it and posted it on all your social media, and then it's
while
like
you're at
something
work.
so weird about like there's something like kind of sick about like being like I'm just trying to show her how talented she's always been.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
you're
so
getting the good
manipulative.
reception. You also did something she asked you not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like, well, you probably don't, but my journal is not hidden in this house.
Yeah. I don't know what it looks like.
Okay. But yeah, like if I like
It's
came
not-
home and you
because
had like
it's none of my business.
I came home and you had written a song from my journal, I would have been like,
Yeah.
what? Like, yeah,
Yeah, that would be crazy.
it would be crazy. So
Yeah. Well, those were some lovely posts.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I would like to go out
Yeah.
on a positive note. So, when we started this, before we were doing more heavily themed stuff, I was reading a good piece of writing
Yeah.
to end each episode, and I'd like to continue that. And this is by an author that we've mentioned a few times, Terrence Hayes. This is his book, American Sonnets for My Past and Future Assassin. They're all, sonnets, as in they're all 14 lines, but not with the classical rhyme scheme or anything. It's a fairly political book and a lot about the black socioeconomic experience and being a black person in the current political sphere. It came out, I think, during the first Trump term, 2018. So this is one that I really like. Overaged, overgraved, overlooked brother seeks adjoining variable female structure, covered in chocolate, cinnamon, molasses, freckled, sandy, or sunset-colored flesh, expressively motored by a blend of intellectual fat and muscle, while several complex and simple emotional frequencies pulse along her veins. Must be a careful and moderately self-indulgent cinematographer, modestly self-conscious, reasonably self-important, spiritually self-educated, marginally self-destructive. Must be willing to raise orchids or kids in a land of assassins, willing to wield a fluid expression in the war her lover wages against himself, and a silver tongue in the war we wage against death.
Ooh, I
It's
love
so
that.
beautiful. I really love it too. It's like there's something about poetry and being in kind of the artistic sphere. I think about like gender norms, and like the way that anything that kind of adheres to conventional gender norms as being maybe seen as being non-progressive. But, it's art imitates life, and everything is a lot of people's reality.
Yeah.
And you write about, and it's not wrong to have a more conventional dynamic. So when it's like this person kind of seeking this thing, and it's a very complex thing, and it
Yeah.
almost feels like they're commenting on what is expected and what's not expected and what's feasible and what's not feasible, and then it lands on something that you actually really need.
Yeah.
And
May I?
yeah, absolutely. Here, it's this one right there. There's something really beautiful in the honesty of that relationship.
Willing to wield a fluid expression in the war her lover wages against himself. Because so much of this is like, the language it's beautiful, and I won't say
But
it's,
he's doing his thing.
yeah, he's doing his thing. It's not impenetrable by any means, but
No,
it is
yeah.
like flowery because it's a poem. But that idea of like your lover, your spouse has their own problems and wages this war against themselves, and you have to kind of play both sides as the partner. Like, you
Absolutely.
can't be the one to be like, oh, like, don't think that way about yourself, like, don't do this, don't do that, because it's like that's not what they want to hear in those moments. But you have to like have that like fluidity to like support them in all of their different, like,
For sure.
you know,
Adapt to your partner's unreasonability at times, and their you know, mood shifts, perspective
Exactly.
shifts, and there's something really beautiful about that. And then, sorry, read the line after that too.
and a silver tongue in the war we wage against death.
I think that that's also beautiful because to me that is just like being a deceptive comfort in a life that we all know is headed toward one direction.
Yeah.
Like that is like a life partner, as you would say, like as we are for each other, like we're all headed toward eventual absolute demise, and everything we do is in willful ignorance of that fact.
Yeah.
And so it is upon us to comfort each other along that road. That's how I interpret that line when I
Yeah.
read it. But even a silver tongue, you know, that's typically somebody who's like lying, right? Or persuading out of a disingenuous place, which it is almost disingenuous the way that
We soothe ourselves.
exactly.
Basically, all you can do is be like, don't think about that right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
Well-
he's a master
Yeah.
of this, and I really love that. I love that poem.
I like the raise orchids or kids.
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
honestly, if it was anybody but him, I would find that like a little on the nose sound wise. And you can't tell from when I read it, but it breaks
Yeah,
the
two
line
different
right there
lines,
too.
yeah.
And he's so fantastic sonically. And he always like, he never like sticks to a strict thing. Like sometimes he'll hit you over the head with sound, and then he won't for the stretch of lines, and then
Yeah.
he'll do it all of a sudden again. And it has a really beautiful effect. So
Yeah.
Terrence Hayes, can never recommend him enough.
You know, we might all be waging this war against death, but there is one thing you can do in your life, and that is subscribe to our Patreon.
Yes, thank you. If you like hanging out with us, and if you want to watch some movies with us too, we've been doing some really fun movie episodes over on the Patreon, and that's an awesome way to support us and this platform. And this is not just for like this platform, like the YouTube channel, but it's
The Overgrowth
for
itself. Yeah, the
primarily
journal.
for the journal. So if you like watching this stuff and you have a good time watching or listening to it, we are doing it as often as we release one of these episodes. We release an exclusive episode for our patrons. So check us out over there and do some movie watch-alongs with us too.
Yeah.
They're super fun.
Do you have another plug?
Yeah, our weekly features. Yeah, thank you. Those have been awesome. We're super proud of those, and definitely check those out if you're one of our Instagram subscribers. We post every Friday when they're up, but they come out every Friday, and they will like forever. So check those out. We combine photographs with a poem or a short story, and we have 2 up right now. The third one will come out this Friday, so 2 days after this episode comes out. I love the first 2. I also love the third one.
The fourth one?
They're all really great. I'm just thinking of the ones that are like on my plate
Yeah,
right now,
yeah.
being built or having just been released. And I think that everybody will really enjoy them. And they're short, so you can sit down and like check them out, read them like on a Friday. It doesn't take that long. It's a nice like coffee break type thing to do, which is kind of how I intended all of this to be. I really like there's a popular journal called Smoke Long Quarterly. It's like one of the big flash fiction journals, and the idea is like that's how long a smoke break would be, because that's how books used to be meant to be read, or these little short stories were meant to be read. I was like, I'm gonna go like read a book. You couldn't scroll on your phone back in the early 1900s, so those were how pulp novels and and stories were like published back then. So that's how I like to structure our stuff as well, and why we publish shorter stuff conventionally. So yeah, pull it up on your phone on your next lunch break and give it a read. They're really nice stuff that people put a lot of care into. Not just me, the photographers and the writers. So enjoy those, please.
Nice. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, y'all.